Sunday, April 5th, 2020. Let's talk about one of the worst things on the planet, small engine maintenance. It gets old. So chainsaw hasn't been running too smoothly. It's, if it's running, if I just put it down for a few seconds, it cuts out. So it's only going if I've got my hand on the throttle, finger on the throttle the whole time. So I replaced the spark plug, and that didn't do it, which means it's likely the carburetor. Which, I'm no stranger to carburetors, and that's why I freaking hate them. Because they're always getting gunked up, and you have to clean them, or replace them, or rebuild them, and all that stuff. So I do, because I'm used to this, small engines quitting on me, I keep spare parts on hand. So I do have a brand new carburetor, whole kit for the chainsaw. So the kit came with fuel line, fuel filter, air filter, and gaskets for the carb. And the spark plug, which I don't need. Let's see, there's plenty of other ways to maintain the carburetor before replacing it, but honestly, just replacing it is often just the easiest, surefire way to fix things. But I always, when I get gas, put fuel stabilizer in it. Fuel stabilizer helps the gas last longer, because gas does go bad. It separates. There's water in it, and water does damage to the carb, and so does just old gas gunking up the carb and getting in there. So this is always in the gas, which helps things last longer than they otherwise would. There's also straight up carb cleaner sprayed on there. It's supposed to break up the gunk. Not sure if it does. Similar deal with mechanic in a bottle. Every now and then I mix this with my gas, and this is supposed to also help clean the carb, because of course it goes through the carburetor and is supposed to break down stuff. Also, carb and parts cleaner, I have that on hand. So there's a basket in there, and basically, so I am going to keep the carb that's on there. I'm going to soak it in the carb cleaner overnight, so that when I have to do this again, I should be able to just swap them instead of having to wait overnight to clean it. But yeah, the carb, basically what this is doing is controlling the ratio of air to fuel coming into the engine. And if it's not doing its job, your engine won't run, or it won't run well. And there's various adjustments on here, screws that you can twist, but I don't totally know all the ins and outs of that. But hopefully they're set correctly, so I don't need to mess with them. So, carb, I think. Yeah. Pretty sure I get at the carb by taking off the top here. Certainly done it before. So let's disassemble this and hopefully fix everything. Jeez. See that? So there's the air filter. I've got a new one. Good thing. Yeah. Old, new, as if I had to say. So, there's the carb. So I have to remove this plate. And then there's probably two bolts holding in the carb. So yeah, two little bolts there, and there, holding in the carb. There's the fuel line going right here. And I'll have to disconnect where the choke is attached and the throttle. Those are all connected to the carburetor. So the carb's out. There's a fuel line, the throttle. So here's the throttle. Goes in there. Control that right with the button, and this connects to the carb. Here's the choke. Goes right there. So that also connects to the carb. So I'll clean that up a bit, get the new carb in there, and hopefully it's as good as new. It was raining for a bit, so I had to pick up, but there's the brand new carb. So the fuel line attached, the throttle, and the choke. Those are my 3 connections. Basically just put the air filter and the cover on it now, and then I'll test it. Tapping into the potatoes for dinner. Threw on some butter, olive oil, Italian seasoning, salt, hot sauce, and onion powder. Once they cook a little more, I've also got a sausage I'll cut up and throw in there. So it's raining and snowing outside. Keeps oscillating back and forth. So I'm just finding some small projects to do inside. I'm gonna clean up these water lines a bit, or clean up the installation. I'm gonna clip them and put right angle connections on them, and then screw in some wood, screw a nail, drill holes in there, and pop the water lines through. I'll do the same over there on the other side for the bathroom sink. So those elbows are crimped on, not going anywhere. Drilled holes, 2 more than I need because I changed my mind on the placement, but just slip that right over there. Secure that in there, and that'll keep the water line steady so they won't bounce around. Alright, we're in the bathroom area now. The bathroom. I've got the elbows already crimped on one side. So I've got my pecs cut to length for the pecs that will come through into the vanity. We'll crimp those on. Make sure we match up the right colors here. Alright, red first. So stick that on. Which way does this go? Stick that on. Then we've got our crimpers. Squeeze them all the way until they release. And check your connection. Solid. Same with the cold. Right? Hot's on the left. Always. Unless you're at my aunt's house, you know which one I'm talking about, where hot is on the right in her kitchen. It's been that way my whole life. It's super annoying. It would take like 2 minutes to fix it, but she's used to it. There, crimped on. sure everything is lined up. And there we go. I'll screw that on. We'll keep it nice and secure. There, bathroom sink plumbing, one step closer. So before this is covered up by wall, I'll use great stuff in the gaps, again, so that they don't bounce around when they pressurize, depressurize. And then in the kitchen, same deal. So I've been digging up rocks in the front yard. Thrilling, I know. But a bunch of rocks all over the place poking up. And the ones that are small enough to dig up, I'm digging up so that it makes it easier to mow the lawn, to mow it and string trim it. So for a lawnmower, I have a manual lawnmower, the one with 2 wheels that you just push and blades spin, and it, you know, chops the lawn. And you know, it'd be really bad news if, well, not really bad, but it would certainly hurt the blade if I hit one of these rocks. So I'm digging them up little by little. I clean up the yard each year, make it a little more level, and you know, fewer stumps, fewer rocks. So let's find one I still have to dig up, one that's manageable size. Here's one. Okay, so that guy, dig that up, and just be one less thing that I have to mow around. There, one less thing I need to worry about with the mower. So there's just that small part sticking above ground, but enough to be an annoyance. Figure now is the time to do this before the grass starts growing. There's the lawnmower I was talking about, hanging up back there. It does an okay job, but you have to keep up with it and keep the lawn short. If it gets too long, got no choice but to string trim it. Alright, it's Friday now, so I'm going to edit these clips together, and you should be able to watch this on Saturday. See, before I wrap up here, the status of the chainsaw, it's not really working any better than it was, and that, of course, is part of the fun of small engines. So I'm going to mess with it a bit more, double check the fuel line, the fuel filter, and the spark plug. And if it's not all of any of those things, I'll be somewhat at a loss. But, you know, a lot of trial and error sometimes with these things. Just gotta put some attention into it. And remember, stay safe, stay in, and most importantly, stay away from people.